If you don't like how I live my life, leave, she said before going clubbing with her best guy. So, I did. Packed everything I owned while she was dancing. When she got back at 3 a.m. expecting a fight, she found empty closets and a note. You're right. I don't like it. So I left. Hey viewers, before we get into the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. Hey Reddit, throwaway account for obvious reasons. I'm writing this because, honestly, I just need to get it out. It's been a wild ride, and looking back, it almost feels like one of those stories you read and think, no way that actually happened. But it did. To me. I'm Alex, 28, a software developer who's always prided himself on being the steady one, the guy who shows up, pays the bills, and builds a future. And Sarah, she was my girlfriend of 3 years. Or at least, I thought she was building that future with me. We met back in college at a mutual friend's party. She was this vibrant, outgoing art major who lit up the room with her laugh. I was the quiet engineering student in the corner, nursing a beer and trying not to spill it on my laptop. Somehow we clicked. She said I grounded her, made her feel safe. I fell hard. After graduation, when she struggled to find steady work in her field, bouncing between freelance gigs and waitressing, I stepped up. I landed a solid job at a tech firm, and we moved into a cozy apartment in the city. I covered most of the rent so she could focus on her passion projects. Painting, photography, whatever inspired her that week. At first, it was great. I'd come home after long coding sessions, and she'd have dinner ready, or we'd binge-watch shows curled up on the couch. But over time, things started to change. Sarah began going out more. Girls' nights that turned into all-nighters. She'd come home smelling like smoke and cheap cocktails, collapsing into bed without a word. At first, I didn't mind. Everyone needs space. But then the comparison started. Why can't you loosen up like my friends? She'd say during arguments. You're always so predictable. It stung, but I brushed it off. I loved her. I believed we were a team. Flashback to about 6 months ago. One night stands out clearly. I just pulled an all-nighter fixing a bug for a major client deadline. Exhausted, I got home and found her all dressed up, scrolling through her phone. She mentioned she was heading out with friends, including this guy Jake, her best guy friend from work. He was a bartender where she waitressed part-time, always posting shirtless gym selfies online. The kind of guy who thrived on attention. I'd met him a few times. He seemed harmless, but something about the way Sarah lit up when she talked about him made my gut twist. That night, I suggested we stay in instead. We've barely seen each other this week, I said, trying to keep it casual. Maybe order pizza. Watch that movie you've been talking about. She rolled her eyes while applying another layer of lipstick in the mirror. Alex, not tonight. Jake's DJing at this club downtown. It's going to be epic. You should come, loosen up for once. I hesitated. Clubs weren't my scene. The noise, the crowds, it drained me, especially after a long day. But more than that, I didn't like how close she was getting to Jake. I'd seen the text pop up on her phone. Emojis, inside jokes. I'm just worried, I admitted. You and Jake seem really close lately. Is there something I should know? That's when things escalated. She turned around, her expression a mix of annoyance and smugness. Worried about what, Alex? That I'm having fun without you? Jake's just a friend. He gets me. He actually lives life. Doesn't sit around coding all day. A sharp pain hit my chest, but I stayed calm. I'm not trying to control you, Sarah. I just feel like we're drifting. You've been out every weekend, and when you're home, you're on your phone. It makes me feel like I'm not enough. She laughed, a sharp, dismissive sound that cut deep. Not enough. Maybe you're right. If you don't like how I live my life, then leave. I'm not changing for anyone. I'm young. I want excitement, not this boring routine. Jake invites me out because he knows how to have fun. If you're jealous, that's on you. Her words hung in the air like a slap. I stood there, stunned, as she grabbed her purse and headed for the door. Don't wait up. She tossed over her shoulder with a smirk. I'll be back late. I didn't beg. I didn't yell. Something inside me just switched off. For months, I'd been pouring everything into us, skipping happy hours with coworkers to be home for her, turning down a promotion that would have required relocating because she didn't want to move. And this was what I got, dismissed like a nagging parent. As the door slammed shut, I sat on the couch staring at the wall. The confusion hit hard. Why was I the villain for wanting stability? For loving her enough to build something real? I thought about all the times I'd sacrificed, The weekend trip I canceled because she had a crisis at work, only to find out later she went out with friends instead. The way she posted photos of her nights out, captioned, "Living my best life," while I sat at home wondering if I was even part of that life anymore. But that night, her words echoed, "If you don't like how I live my life, leave. Fine." I would. I started packing methodically, quietly. My clothes from a closet, books from the shelves, a few gadgets that were mine. I left her things untouched, the paintings on the walls, the knickknacks she'd collected. I even left the shared furniture. I didn't want to fight over petty things. By 1 a.m., my car was loaded. I scribbled a note on a sticky pad and left it on the kitchen counter. "You're right. I don't like it. So I left. Take care." No drama, no accusations, just detachment. I drove a couple of hours to a buddy's place. He'd always said I could crash on his couch anytime. And I did. My phone was on silent. For the first time in years, I felt a strange sense of peace mixed in with the hurt. The next morning, my phone blew up. Missed calls, texts, dozens from Sarah. I ignored them at first, nursing a coffee and trying to process everything. The confusion lingered. Had I overreacted? Was I the one throwing it all away? But no. Her words replayed in my head. She'd made it clear I was optional, a backup to her exciting life with Jake. Around noon, I finally picked up when she called for the umpteenth time. My voice was steady, no hint of the storm inside. "Alex, what the hell?" She burst out, her tone a mix of shock and anger. "I come home at 3 a.m., and the place is half empty. Your stuff's gone. And that note? Are you serious?" "Yes, Sarah, I am." She paused, like she expected me to backtrack. "This is ridiculous. You packed up and left because I went out. You're acting like a child. Jake and I were just dancing, having fun. Nothing happened. You're overreacting to nothing." "Nothing," I echoed, staying calm. "You've been pulling away for months. Late nights, constant texting with him, making me feel like I'm holding you back. You told me if I didn't like it to leave, so I did." Her tone shifted, laced with that twisted logic she'd perfected. "Okay, fine. Maybe I've been distant, but relationships have ups and downs. You can't just bail without talking. Jake's fun, yeah, but he's not you. You're the stable one, the one I come home to. Don't you get that? I need both, excitement and security. Monogamy is outdated anyway, everyone experiments. If you're insecure about it, that's your issue. Come back, and we can work it out." I'll cut back on going out. I almost laughed at the hypocrisy. She wanted me as the safety net while she lived her life. No apologies, just justifications. "No, Sarah. We're done. I deserve better than being your backup plan." "Backup? That's not fair. You're twisting everything." "Backup? That's not fair. You're twisting everything. Jake gets that life isn't all serious. It doesn't judge me for wanting fun. If you loved me, you would fight for us, not run away like a coward." Her words stung, but I didn't take the bait. "Goodbye, Sarah." I hung up, blocked her number, and that was it. No outburst, no pleading, just the end. The days that followed blurred into a haze of unfairness. I crashed on my buddy's couch, staring at the ceiling, replaying every sacrifice, like the time I loaned her money for art supplies, only for her to spend it on a weekend getaway with friends, Jake included, I later realized. Or the way she'd post vague, disrespectful things online. Memes about boring boyfriends that her followers laughed at while I pretended not to notice. It all felt so undeserved. I'd been loyal, committed, and for what, to be discarded like yesterday's news? I didn't confront her or lash out. Instead, I focused on myself. I got a cheap motel room for a week, then found a sublet in a city a few hours away. I transferred within my company. No promotion needed, just a fresh start. I hit the gym, reconnected with old friends, even started therapy to unpack the confusion. Why had I allowed myself to be treated like that for so long? At first, the silence was deafening, but slowly it turned into clarity. I wasn't the problem. Her entitlement was. Meanwhile, I heard bits and pieces through mutual friends, though I never asked. Sarah spun her version of the story. I was the controlling jerk who abandoned her, but cracks started to show. Jake, it turned out, wasn't just the best friend. She claimed they'd hooked up that night at the club, and it spiraled from there. She moved in with him impulsively, quitting her job for more freedom. But Jake was unstable, partying hard, bouncing between gigs with a temper when things got serious. It didn't take long for karma to catch up, though I wasn't seeking updates. A couple of weeks after I left, a mutual friend, Mike, reached out. He was one of the few who didn't buy Sarah's version. "Dude, you okay?" He texted. "Things are imploding over here." I kept it brief. "I'm good. What's up?" On a quick call, he filled me in. Sarah had gone all in with Jake that night at the club. "Yeah, it wasn't just dancing," he said. "They hooked up, and she was parading it around like some kind of victory. She started posting cryptic stories online about new beginnings and embracing freedom, but Jake wasn't the life she had imagined. He was a serial partier, bouncing from one high to the next with a string of exes who had left for good reason. Unstable didn't even begin to cover it. He'd explode over nothing, disappear for days, and pull her back in with charm. At first, Sarah quit her waitressing job, convinced Jake's connections would land her something better in the art scene. They moved into his rundown place downtown, living off his bartending tips and whatever she had left in savings. But reality hit fast. Jake began showing his true colors, verbal jabs when she asked for commitment, using her for rides and money, then ditching her for other women at parties. One night, things escalated. He trashed the place in a rage after she questioned a late-night text from an ex. She called the cops but downplayed it to friends. "Just a rough patch," she said. Her unraveling only accelerated. Without a job, the bills piled up. Mutual friends began distancing themselves as the truth came out. Sarah had been emotionally cheating for months, bad-mouthing me behind my back to justify it. "Alex is too safe," she'd say. "I need passion." But now, with Jake flaking, she was isolated. Her posts shifted from triumphant to vague cries for help. When life throws curveballs, the comments dried up. People saw through it. I heard she hit rock bottom about a month in through another update from the grapevine. She'd been evicted from Jake's place after he kicked her out mid-fight, calling her too clingy. He moved on to his next fling, leaving her scrambling. She crashed with her sister, but that fell apart quickly. Family drama, her mom enabling her but offering no real support. Broke, jobless, her reputation in ruins. The friends who once cheered her, glow up, now ghosted her, realizing she'd burned every bridge. Through it all, I stayed detached. No gloating, no checking her socials. That said, the middle of all this was tough for me too. The silence after the storm. I'd wake up in my new sublet, a small studio with bare walls, and feel the weight of everything. The confusion lingered. How had I missed the signs? The late nights I'd excused as stress relief. The way she compared me to Jake's adventurous vibe, making me feel like less of a man. Flashback to last Christmas. I'd surprised her with a custom easel for her art, something I scraped together from overtime pay. She'd gushed, said thanks, but weeks later it sat untouched while she partied. Undeserved. All of it. I let myself sit with that unfairness, journaling through it and there. You were loyal, my therapist told me. She wasn't. That's on her. Slowly my story began to shift. I threw myself into work and nailed a project that earned me a raise. I joined a hiking group, made new friends who valued reliability over chaos. I even started dating casually, nothing serious. But it reminded me I wasn't boring, just steady. The internal fog cleared. I wasn't confused anymore. I was free. Sarah's attempts to come back started subtly, then escalated into desperation. I'd unblocked her after a few weeks, maybe out of curiosity, maybe just to close the loop. The text came first, about a month after I left, one after another, late at night. "Hey Alex, can we talk? I miss our talks. I know I messed up. Jake was a mistake. Let's meet." I ignored them. No response was my response. Then the calls started ramping up. One evening, my phone rang while I was cooking dinner in my new place. I let it go to voicemail, but curiosity got the better of me. I listened later. "Alex, please pick up. Things with Jake, they're not what I thought. He used me, okay? Dumped me like trash. I see now how good we had it. You were always there. Call me back." I felt no sympathy. She'd made her choice. A week later, things escalated further. She showed up at my old workplace. Must have gotten the address from a mutual, but I'd already transferred, so she hit a dead end. Instead, she sent her toxic circle. Her best friend, Lisa, always the enabler, texted me. "Sarah's hurting bad. Be a man and hear her out. She's family to us." I replied simply, "Not my problem." Then came the family ambush. Her mom called from an unknown number. I picked up, thinking it was work. "Alex, this is Karen, Sarah's mom. You need to talk to her. She's devastated. How could you just disappear like that? After everything she's been through?" I kept my tone even. She told me to leave. If I didn't like her life, I didn't, so I left. Karen scoffed, as unpleasant as ever. That's childish. Relationships take work. Sarah's young. She made a mistake. Jake's a loser. But you're stable. Come back and fix this. Her sister's fed up with her staying there. Sarah needs you. I nearly hung up but stayed firm. No, we're over. Sarah must have been listening because she grabbed the phone. Alex, Mom's right. I was stupid, okay? I thought Jake was exciting, but he hurt me, verbally. He left me broke. I realize now you are the real deal. Please, let's start over. I'll change. Her voice cracked, but it carried that same manipulation. Excuses, not accountability. You said monogamy was outdated. I reminded her calmly that I was holding you back. Enjoy your freedom. That set her off. Her tone flipped, true colors showing. Freedom? Look where it got me. Alone while you're off playing the victim. How dare you block me? Ignore me. You're selfish, Alex. I gave you 3 years. Gave me? I echoed. You took? Goodbye. Click. Her attempts peaked when she showed up at Mike's place. He'd slipped and mentioned I'd stayed there briefly. Around 10 p.m., she was pounding on his door, reeking of desperation. Mike texted me a heads up. I wasn't there, but he told me what happened later. She ranted, "Tell Alex to man up, I need him. Everything's falling apart because of him." After that, nothing. Radio silence for a while. Fast forward 6 months. I'd built a solid life, a promotion at work, a nicer apartment, and I'd even met someone new. Emily, a graphic designer who appreciated my steady nature instead of mocking it. No chaos, just mutual respect. I was invited to Mike's wedding, a small outdoor ceremony in a park a few hours from the old city. Mutual friends were there, including some who knew Sarah. I went feeling evolved, not vengeful. She showed up uninvited, slipping in through a side gate during the reception. Disheveled, hair messy, dress wrinkled, like she'd driven straight from wherever she'd been. Her eyes scanned the crowd until they landed on me, laughing with Emily at our table. "Alex," she called, weaving through the guests. Heads turned, whispers followed. She reached me breathless. "We need to talk." Now, I stayed calm, Emily beside me, confused but supportive. "Sarah, this isn't the place." Her eyes flicked to Emily, then back to me. The desperation spilled out. "Pushy, whatever. Alex, please. I'm sorry for everything. Jake ruined me. I'm in therapy now, working on myself. I lost my friends, my job, but we were good. Remember? Give me another chance." Guests stared. Mike glanced over from a distance, concerned. But I felt nothing. No pity, no anger, just indifference. "Sarah," I said firmly, my voice steady, "you've been irrelevant to me for months. I built this life without your drama. You told me to leave if I didn't like it. I did, and I'm thriving. Emily, she's part of that. Go live your life. Mine doesn't include you." She stared at me, stunned. Then the hypocrisy broke through. "Thriving with her? You're just replacing me to spite me. I deserve better than this rejection." "No," I replied, the shift unmistakable, her desperate, me in control. "You deserve what you chose. Goodbye." She stormed off, muttering under her breath as people whispered about her audacity. Later, Mike pulled me aside. "She's hit rock bottom," he said. "Couch surfing, begging for gigs. Seeing you happy, that broke her. But for me, it was closure. Walking away from that wedding, hand in hand with Emily, I felt free. Sarah was just a ghost from a past life, forgotten, powerless. I had stepped out of her world and built something solid in my own. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share your thoughts in the comments.